I'd like to take a chance to welcome everybody to the first meetup. Appreciate y'all coming. We hope to grow into a big community and see a lot develop from this. We're definitely excited. So like I said, we're the East Tennessee Aquatic Association. And so I'm gonna go over today's agenda so far. We got the club introduction and agenda review, which y'all can read over as I go. Mission statement, club purpose and what to expect. Kind of what we're gonna do as a club and what we look to gain as a community, things like that. Me and the fellow board members, excluding one, he's a little under the weather today, couldn't make it, so he felt it was best to stay home. But the other four of us are going to give a little introduction to ourselves and how we got into the hobby to let you feel a little more involved with us. Then we have our special guest, Richard Wye. He's going to give a talk on photography and do a little hands-on demonstration about taking pictures of your aquarium. We kind of felt that was something good. You know, everybody wants to take pictures of their fish, so that's something we can all relate to. And then, you know, of course, everybody just talk amongst yourselves and get to know each other and, you know, break the ice as time goes on. Everybody will be comfortable and you'll know, oh, that's so-and-so. I see him once a month. And then finally, we have our raffle we're going to give away. As you can see, we've got a pretty good turnout of some plants, some products, some fish. So we'll have the drawing and then we'll call people's names. And then my understanding, I believe are we going to let them just, once we call the name, they're going to pick what they want? Or?
Yeah. That or, I mean, and looking at how many people we have, I think you guys are all going to have to figure out how you're going to take all this stuff home.
Yeah, it looks like we got.
We'll figure that out. We'll figure out this at the end.
All right, so we'll start with this is our mission statement. Our statement for our club is to create an aquarium club of like-minded aquarists, to discuss the aquarium hobby, learn from fellow aquarists and professionals, have aquarium-related events for members to exchange in fish and plants, promote the hobby beyond our group to encourage fish keeping within our community. And kind of what to expect from the meetings coming up is our club status updates, what we're doing, the new events we're coming up with, any way we can mingle with everybody. Member bio presentations. So we're thinking about kind of like we're going to give our presentation tonight of who we are. If somebody wants to give a presentation themselves, it's not required, but if you want to volunteer or if you'd like to share your aquarium or how you got into the hobby, you can give a short introduction of yourself and let people know you a little more. Of course, we're going to have as many guest speakers as we can get, so we have different subjects you can learn from and things to help you advance in the hobby. Our quarterly swaps and auctions we're going to hold. We haven't got the location for sure yet, but as soon as we do, we'll let y'all know. And we'll definitely want to do that. Then we got our attendance prize drawings that I went over. Aquatic related field trips. So we're still kind of working on this, what we want to do, maybe some fish room tours, maybe some collecting, just things like you would see on YouTube, your favorite channels.
We also have a member in the club that works for the Conservation of Tennessee, and he has agreed to maybe do like a field trip to do it in the stream and like catch some local species, photograph them, talk about them. So that could be something we got going on in the future.
Definitely looking to do some, some fun stuff. That way you ain't got to hear me talk every time. Then what I'm really looking forward to, of course, we got our competition for breeder banner picks. Y'all seen that in our group. Once a month we select somebody, but we're gonna have a breeding, scape off, and fish quality, etc. So we're gonna try to have breeders competitions, have scaping competitions, just as much as we can do to get everybody involved. And then committee involvements and report outs. So as we build the club and we have new avenues that we want to go down, we want to give members a chance to try to help us with some things if they want to step up to a role, maybe reach out to people or take over for a certain project we're working on. And then I guess I'll give my little bio. So my name is Kane Fritz Wallace. I've been keeping aquariums for a little over 2 years. So I haven't been in the game very long, but like most everybody that's probably here, I got my first aquarium and then, it was all downhill from there. No, I'm just kidding. I love it, but I've definitely collected quite an assortment. What got me into the hobby, I actually have a friend. He really is a fish nut. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it tonight, but he's got aquariums in every room in his house, including his bathroom. And he kept on me, man, you need to get an aquarium. You need to get an aquarium. I was like, I don't want no stinking aquarium. That's too much work. Finally, one day he talked me into it. And I've been hooked ever since. Never thought once I'd even care about having fish. From now until then, you know, I went from having the one aquarium to now my wife's fussing at me about trying not to find more spaces to squeeze them in, which I'm still working on that. And then my main objective to being a part of the club is I want to bring the fish keepers in the community together. You know, me and the guys are talking, and we just see a real lack of an opportunity for everybody to be involved. I watch a lot of YouTube, see a lot of people that, you know, they have clubs, they have get-togethers, and they don't even have the slightest size of community for fish that we do. And we have a booming community for aquariums and then no club. So, you know, we're just really looking for this to blow up and give everybody a chance to know somebody. I see all this on the internet, but yeah, I hardly have any fish friends or anybody to conversate with. I usually just talk to my buddies at work to death about it, and you know, they're probably tired of hearing about it. But so, you know, it's for me, it's for y'all. I'm just looking to see this grow into something great and have a real good community. But that's about all I got for me and myself. And I guess I should point out we're supposed to go over our positions. So, you know, they're just titles, and it's basically just, hey, I'm willing to do work, but I'm the president, so I'm the one that gets stuck talking y'all up here, and, you know, you can come fuss at me if something's wrong, all that good stuff. But that's me. You know, feel free to come up to me, talk to me. You can message me on the internet, anything. I'm an easy guy to talk to, easy to go along with. But with that, I'll move on to the next person.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
I'm Curtis Cassiano, and just so you know, he volunteered to be the president. He did not force anybody to do anything. I am the vice president, meaning I get to take everybody else's role who doesn't show up. Our secretary is not here today, so I'm also the secretary today. My bio is I've been married happily for 23 years. I've got 2 wonderful boys. They're heavily involved in the tennis, and we travel an absolute ton, so that's why my kids are holding a humongous snake in that one picture. I have had aquariums my entire life. I was the 4-year-old you saw running around begging his parents to get me that fish, get me that fish. And I finally got that fish when I found a quarter and took a ping pong ball, threw it into a little bucket, and won a goldfish. And from there, the addiction started. I had my single goldfish in my parents' 10-gallon aquarium tank, community tank, and then it quickly turned into my community tank that I was responsible for cleaning. I was a 7 at this point, or somewhere in that range. And then from there, when I was 11 years old, I convinced my brother to spend $30 and split a 30-gallon tank, and that was the beginning of what we call MTS. It's not treatable. It is called multiple tank syndrome. We all probably have it quite badly at this point. And I've never been without. Even when I had a dorm. I was a freshman in college. Where you're supposed to put all your books, I had a 10-gallon with a piranha. You know, I never have been without. One year I didn't even have a true place that I could keep fish. So luckily my girlfriend let me put my 55 at her house, which was rented. So she knew my addiction from the get-go. So it's one of those things. So let's see. I said who introduced me to this hobby. It was just a single goldfish. Do I have to scroll or click or something? Just click it. Click it. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. So it's a quick timeline. I pretty much went over that. I currently have 9 tanks. I don't count my fish barrels as tanks. Jason is also a ponder. I'm quite into the summer ponding. These are rain barrels. That one picture is a rain barrel that I keep, and most people just keep rain barrels with water in it. I figure there's water, there should be fish. That way I can take all the poop water and water on my plants. One thing I did skip is I'm an insect and disease care specialist for trees and shrubs, so I'm super into plants. And so I take this poo water and water my plants, water my actual plants, and as a result, I get to grow I keep goldfish in the barrels and stuff like that. And then I just built a 1,000-gallon pond, and I'm going to start keeping smallmouth and stuff like that in it. No goldfish for me, sort of thing. So let's see. I'm a pretty active breeder in the summer. I like to do a lot of things outside. Like I do barbs. Currently, I have some of my cichlids that have bred, so I have some of their babies. I really do a lot of barbs. I do some tetras here and there. I've got endler guppies like crazy, like everybody else does when you have guppies, and so I keep all that sort of stuff. My primary objective to being a member of an aquarium club is to meet people like you guys, who, like Kane said, when I go to a party, I'm talking about what everybody else wants to talk about. I want to talk about fish. Get that fish. Come on in. So, you know, people like you guys are going to help me fill that need. And how are you today?
Wonderful.
Good. So that's my objective, and I would like to, you know, I'd like to learn from you guys. I'd like you to learn from me. If there's something that I can offer, then by all means ask me. This is not a formal setting whatsoever. You should be able to walk up to any one of the people in this room. Hey, how are you? This is what this is for. Hey, how are you? I'm Curtis. You know, I heard you talk about your high-tech plants, and Chris brought on all these high-tech plants for us. I'm dying to pick his brain about what's it take to keep that. So my objective is to learn from you guys, you learn from me, and us just sit here and fish geek out, sort of thing. And then the last thing I would like to do as other than being VP on this whole thing and helping and doing anything that I can for this club, I personally would like to start a breeders program where, you know, John decides, hey, I've bred my pink convicts. You know, we can go through and get you points on that if you're interested. If you're not interested, hey, it's not that big of a deal. I just think it'd be neat for somebody to get recognition for that. And, you know, I think it's just something cool that I've seen that's out there. So that's me. Next over, who's next?
You want to just briefly cover, I guess,
Mitchell.
niches and the position?
Oh, Mitch. Okay, Mitch is the secretary of this situation, and I blame him for what I have to tell you today because of the fact that I'm doing his position today, which is record keeping and everything like that. We'll honestly let him do his own bio when he gets here. But as secretary, he pretty much comes in and, you know, he takes notes on our meetings. So just so everybody knows, we're having meetings here once a month on the first Saturday. But the week before, the board, us five who decided to get together and really start this thing, we're meeting a week before. And we do it on Zoom. We sit there and chat and figure out what do you guys want to hear about. So we're going to need some feedback. We don't want to just make it all up for you. We need you to tell us, hey man, I really don't want to hear about this, or I really want to hear about that. So Mitch, as a result, takes notes on this, and I'm supposed to be taking notes today on what this is so that when we come and meet 3 weeks from now, before our meeting, we know what you guys want to hear and see, and we're going to bring that for you. So that's Mitch, his beautiful family, and like I said, when he comes, he'll obviously he'll introduce himself. He has one tank. We got to fix that.
How big?
It better be 10,000 gallons. It ain't enough. You know, I don't know. What's 75. At least it's reputable. No, he's only got one tank for right now, but he's good. He's good dude. And now I'll hand it over to JT.
All right. So I'm JT McCarty. On Facebook, I go by JT on the Mental Room. That's somewhat of a college nickname I was given. Plus, I call my basement / fish room my main room because I don't just have fish, but I have a bunch of animals. And it's like my man cave all in one. So that's kind of where that came from. Been married for 10 years. I'm a father of 2 old dogs now. And then pretty much I have just a bunch of fish and reptiles in my basement. So like any normal person, right? I do have a caiman, and I like the more exotic fish species. So if you guys are into that sort of thing, I'll look to pick y'all's brain on that. Some things that kind of introduced me, I'm originally being from Daytona Beach. So like when I was a kid, I was always catching snakes and turtles. And my room, I had little, those little swimming pools you get at Walmart, and I would have them just all scattered in my room. I'd be walking through them pretty much. And I had a bunk bed full of box turtles up top, so. But that's just kind of my thing I've always been. And then I did work an internship in college, and it was for a marine science center, and that's where I really fell in love with like the kind of like ecosystems and like really big filtration systems. So I tried to replicate that in like indoor ponds and stuff. So just kind of my thing. Kind of already gave you the quick timeline, but again in college I did have a weird tank in my room as well, all 4 years, and it was a big bin with my snapping turtle. That was the only thing I brought from Florida, was my snapping turtle. He's like 25 years old now, so he's my baby. And then after that, my first aquarium out of college was a 75 gallon. I kept trout that I got from like a tackle store. So that was a really fun, interesting experience. And then in the summertime, it wasn't so fun when they died. But yeah, so, and then some of my objectives, I hope to build a fellowship, get to know you guys, really grow this community in the fish hobby, and see how much we can grow it and expand from there. Education is like a huge thing, so if I can help educate somebody new to the community, introduce them to like new ways of filtration rather than just the generic PetSmart things you just get and you're just kind of stuck with that. I do a lot of DIY, so I hope to help other people with that as well as I'd like to learn from all you guys and kind of learn this type of things. And then I enjoy challenges, so like the different competitions. I'm really interested in competing in like skate balls and stuff like that. Those are things that really like get me going. So, and then just general events and field trips. Like I want to take a field trip to Ripley's Believe It or Not Aquarium and go look at the inside part of it. Not where everyone can see, like the filtration side. Because that's just kind of the things that I enjoy about places like that. So, and then I'll again on the accounting. So these positions we kind of just they're almost like a first year interim positions. We just kind of put somebody so we all have some responsibilities. And then from there, so, I mean, at the very end of this presentation, there's kind of the detail of what we decided was like the true, I guess, the job titles of each position in some more detail. And if there's anything like that you guys be interested in, I don't know when we're going to try and like maybe every year or something like that. Or if there's someone who just really has a passion and you want to jump in there right away, I'm totally cool with that. So that's why we also have like these subcommittee positions as well. But if you have any ever questions or anything like that, please let me know. Now we'll pass it off to Mr. Jason.
Yeah, no worries.
Hello. I've met a lot of you. I see a lot of familiar faces here from the last club and customers and things. It's good to be meeting with fish people again, and hopefully we will be highly successful this time over the last club. That kind of diminished, but so moving on to greener pastures. I have been in the fish hobby since I was about 12 years old. I'm 44 now. I also grew up in Florida. I grew up in Orlando, and the same thing. I caught everything that walked, crawled, swam, or flew that I could get my hands on as a kid, and kept it in my house and drove my parents crazy with bringing snakes home every day or lizards or whatever it was that I found wandering around. And I had friends that had aquariums that got me into the hobby. I had a friend that had an aquarium servicing business that I worked for. I had a friend that managed a pet store that I was a roommate with for years. And I've just always been into the pet hobby, the pet trade. I started with reptiles, but it's moved into fish. And I started a small pond service business. I grow lilies, I grew goldfish, and I grow other pond plants, and I do pondscaping and consultations and things like that. So if anybody needs any help with that, let me know. And what do I do? Hi, Eric. So this last year, I started getting some little greenhouses going at the house and experimenting with doing a lot of tubbing and outdoor breeding and things like that. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a cool experience. I am the media marketing director, so it's my job to try to bring more people here. and get people together, reach out to companies. I got us some sponsorship from API. So we will have API products to give out at our meetings. So I'll be reaching out to other companies, hopefully for other products and things like that to be able to give away in the future. Yeah, I just like to talk fish, and that's why I'm here. And it's been a long time since we haven't had a club, and we need one. And a couple of people, me and Curtis, got together and swapped some fish. Me and Kane talked online, and everybody kind of said, hey, why don't we have a club? And we just got together and started planning it, and here we all are now. So hopefully, we've quickly grown to almost 300 people in the Facebook group, which has been exciting. I didn't think we would grow to that many just quickly, so it's exciting to see. I think we have a lot of good things planned for the future and some cool outings, and hopefully we don't ever have to charge dues where anybody's responsible to pay a flat fee for a month. We hope to crowdfund this. When we have swaps and auctions and things like that, there will be a service fee for tables, entrance fee. It won't be crazy. It's not going to be too brutal. And that way, if any time we have a meeting or anything, if anybody has a couple of bucks or pocket change or whatever else, or they want to throw in the bucket over there, they can. And that way, hopefully we don't ever have to say you're responsible for this amount of money to come to one of our meetings. And that way, we don't keep anybody out that can't maybe afford dues and wants to learn about the aquarium hobby. But that's it, pretty much. Just a fish nerd and like to talk fish, so get a bunch of fish people together. That was the plan. I think that's about it.
So, as far as with kind of a little bit of everything that we talked about, these are some of the committees, as I've spoken earlier, that we might get some members involved with, like a contest committee, sponsorship committee, a breeding committee, auction chairperson, raffle chairperson, and we even would like to get a youth committee going. You know, we definitely like to keep it family oriented and get the youth in here and get them addicted young so we can keep the club going. And that, I guess I'll go ahead and introduce our speaker, Richard Wise.
Oh, you. Name is you.
All right, I'll let you take the stage, buddy.
Oh, go ahead and hit that next arrow. I didn't make any slides, so I'm curious. Cool. I'm a photographer, as you can probably tell. I got into fishing when I was a real young kid. I don't know. Before high school, I had a Bacardi tank. And ever since then, like the rest of the guys, I've always had a tank. I've always into invertebrate saltwater tanks for a long time. That's easier than freshwater for some reason. Still do. But now I only have 4 freshwater tanks. But anyway, I just want to teach you guys about how to take pictures. I don't want to get into the hardcore stuff of like what kind of filters I use, my settings, or anything like that. I'm just trying to teach you some basic pointers on how you guys can take better pictures of your own tank, right? Light is probably the most important thing in a good picture because picture light is everything. It gives you color. Without light, you won't get color, you get darkness, right? So lighting is always important. So you don't have to spend a whole bunch of money on stuff like this. Your tank light should be enough. But if you have one of those higher Wi-Fi's where you can set the intensity, you want to crank that up all the way to the top. Because the more colors, more light you put in, more colors you're going to get out of all your plants. Now, second most important thing in taking a picture of your tank is glare control. Right? That's probably the thing that ruins most people's tank pictures is glare. So what you want to do is turn off all the lights and everything that's behind the tank, the face of the picture of the tank that you're taking, anything behind it. Anything that's facing, you want all those lights off. Anything that blinks red, blue, anything Bluetoothy, anything like that, that will all show up on your picture. So you want to get rid of glare by either killing all the lights or do what I do when I go to a fish store. I get a tripod in the back and I get a big tarp, something like this, that's just black, and I black it all out. Or sometimes you might see me with this wrapped around my hips with a belt. So it blocks behind me so I can go up to a fish tank and block out all the lights to the fish tank I'm at. But I don't do that anymore because people keep staring. I don't know why. It's weird. Second most thing that I see that people are doing the most mistakes. So you get a cell phone, right? You want to take a picture of it, boom, right, like this. So here's an angle that you're shooting at. the camera lens is hitting and the lens and the glass is plane is at a complete different angle. To take the most clear, crystal clear picture, you want to go perpendicular to the glass. Perpendicular. So that's why I hate bow glasses. They're the worst. Because the reason why is the way the molecules are lined up in the glass. So when you take a picture of it at an angle, you're going to start hitting a lot of diffractions. And everything starts becoming blurry. So if you have a lot of algae, shoot from the side. Okay? Because that won't show up very well. But if you want a nice, clear picture, you want to shoot perpendicular and flat to it. And if you can, as close as possible. Because what happens with all these cell phones, these are super small lenses. They're called 11, 10 millimeters, right? Mine starts at 24. So what happens to the pictures is on the edges, it starts stretching everything in the picture. So you get that big fisheye bony look, right? So if you get really close to it, fill up the whole picture with this without adding straight lines into your picture. Like back, if I take the picture from back here, you're gonna see these straight lines. They'll start bowing in the picture, and it just takes the eye off the subject. So you bring it as close as you can, brightest light as possible, and turn off all the light behind you. And that's the trick. Second trick is holding it still. As everyone knows, their cell phone is probably their #1 camera, so that's I'm gonna spend a lot of time talking about it. Once you click that button, you know there's a lag, right? Before it goes click. That's where most people are click and then you pull away, so you can look at it, it's all blurry floor. So it's easier to actually prop it on something. If you have a tripod for it, a stack of books, tripod it and then click the picture. And if you want to get really nerdy into it, put it on a timer, because when you click that picture, you can adjust, you can move the camera. So you put it on, like I say, a 2-second timer, you click it, you got 2 seconds, it takes the picture. Now you've got fast moving fish. Those suck a lot. So the trick is, if you can move things around in your tank, is to crowd the front, drop food in the front, bring that camera as close as possible. If you want to get really nerdy and you have a DSLR, come talk to me after the meet or during the meet, and I'll throw down with you on how technical I get. I use macro lenses, that's the way to go. But for most people with cell phones, you're very limited on what you can control. So if you want that fuzzy portrait look where the background's fuzzy and the foreground's fuzzy, but your subject is perfect sharp focus, you bring it as close as possible. So when you bring it close as possible, you are killing the depth of focus. How do I explain this? The amount of items in that picture that's going to be focused is going to be smaller and smaller the closer you bring the camera. Further back you bring the camera, more and more of that tank will be in focus. So if you want the whole tank, because you got a beautiful landscape of a 125-gallon fish tank, you're going to want to bring that camera back as far as possible, really, just to fit the frame. But if you want to target on a fish, you want to bring that sucker all the way in, because it reduces the diffraction of the lens, the glass lens. Low iron is great. It doesn't particularly help. Bows suck. I hate them for pictures, at least. But a second trick that you can do is separating the tank from the background. I know most of you guys have bigger tanks where you can't just move your tank around. But for you guys with nano tanks, if you want to take a picture for your Instagram, definitely try to move it away from the background, because then when you take a picture, the background becomes blurry and it doesn't become noticeable for whatever it is in the background. I like to use black light, black background, because it creates natural contrast. If you want to get nerdy about post editing pictures, what I do and stuff like that, that's a whole different game. I edit all my pictures. I don't ever take a picture and send it off. I edit all of them because I have to, because of the way my camera settings are. So if you want to get that deep into it, come talk to me. I'm trying to think what else about cell phones. Right. So when you have your cell phone, you have your camera out, you have contrast, bright spots in the picture, and you have dark spots in the picture, right? I don't know if you know, but you can take the camera and point at the bright spot on your camera, and it'll censor the bright spot in the tank. It'll adjust the sensor, and it'll bring down the light. Or you can point your camera where the dark spot is, and it should, I think most cameras, it should automatically censor that spot of the picture. So if it's a dark shadow area, and you use your sensor there, yeah, it'll focus there, but it'll also lighten up that dark area. So that's some common tricks I see where I see a lot of them blown highlights on top of the plants. It's all just white. And then you got the midtones, okay, but the darks, you got it too bright, or it looks snowy, it looks, I don't know, it looks ashy, faded black. So to change all that is just phone contrast. Every phone's got it at every phone. So when you get glare and things like that, bring down highlights. You want to pop colors, bring down darkness, and then bring up saturation. But this is when you're gonna notice, I'm nerding out. Filters. Don't ever buy filters. They're not worth it. I can teach you in 5 minutes how to make every filter that's available. It's super easy. I have seen phone editors do it. If you just know how to change the slides around and just play with the slides, you can mimic other filters. Because those filters are only good for that lighting condition that our creator made that filter for. It's only good for his style. If you have a consistent style, then yeah, use the filter. But most of the time, you should slide back and forth, use the editor, you go into the manual, and you have the slide bars, super easy. Because, another tip, I should take the notes. So fish tank, you have that light, right? And then once that light enters the camera, it's gonna glare, right? It gives that white effect and takes away all that color. So to avoid that, you can angle the camera a little bit down or bring it closer. Again, I like bringing my camera as close as possible, right to the lens. Because any dirtiness on the glass starts disappearing the closer you get. Further away you get, the more you notice all the spots, the slightest bit of algae, I tend to notice further away instead of when getting further closer, because you just isolate it. So when you're this far back, the light can enter the lens right away. You'll notice the white glare on top. I'm not sure I can show it. I don't know if y'all can see it. See how it whitens out right there? That white band on top, you can get rid of once you get closer. This is filtered, so it's cheap. But so the light that's on top of the fish tank is going to be LED. It's going to be super harsh, super bright. So if you tilt up at all, you're going to notice that huge glare. So it's easy, again, perpendicular, straight on, closer. Bright light, turn off background light. Any questions, just come and ask me. I don't know what else to say.
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so when I take pictures in my tank, I often get like, not necessarily a black moment, but because I'm running LED lights.
Yeah.
You know, they flick, 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 flick.
Banding.
How are they
That's
with
what
that?
it's called. So cell phones have a sensor that has a problem with banding. To get rid of that, cheaper lights tend to have a problem with that because they're running at about 30 frames per second. So they're flickering a light at about 30 frames. Every 30 seconds, flick, 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 flick. The camera will pick up on that if your shutter speeds is over 30 frames. So most modern day LEDs will do at least 60, right? So you need to if you can go manual into your cell phones, you can bring it down to 60 frames. And it'll adjust everything, compensate everything else for it automatically to take a good, clear picture. But that's pretty high-tech stuff. That's really getting into it. Like if you do videos, you notice bandings going across your whole screen. It just moves slowly moving.
My GoPro.
Okay, so what it is
GoPro
each
too.
band represents a multiplier of how fast you're going. So if you see 6 bands going across slowly sliding up the screen, you're going 6 times too fast and the light's frame rate.
So how do you change
Bump
that?
that down to 30 is a good place to start. Go 60, and it should be just one big black band, slowly going across. But then you do 30 and it should disappear. But you gotta know how to compensate your ISO settings, your shutter speed, and controlling your light to get rid of that. So that's the problem with technology. That's cell phone. It's the problem with cell phones. So any other questions?
If somebody wanted to get a good starter camera, but they didn't want to spend the arm and a leg,
Yeah.
what would you suggest? Would you suggest just go ahead and spend the money? Or do you have a good medium ground?
Used equipment. The value of used equipment are so underrated. You don't need a high end. You want I hate spending money on a body. I think it's the worst investment, but it's like a cell phone. Every year it comes up new, right? The money really in a camera is this thing for. My lens costs more than twice as much as that I will never have to read by my lens. I will almost always have to continuously update my body and keep up with formats, technology, so I can stay relevant, right? So if you start getting into photography, spend all your money on lens, even buy used ones, but buy high quality lens. This stuff back here is all tricks and gimmicks. Is all it's really adding to your lens. Anything with just a sensor in it is all I need. Because 99% of work nowadays is done on the computer now afterwards, post-editing. All the extra attachment lenses and all the tricks this camera can do in the back, I can also do on Photoshop with one click. Do it better than my camera, because my computer's got a much bigger computer processor than this little guy. So if you're going to spend money on camera, use Sony is what I'm going to say, mirrorless. Mirrorless, use Sony that you can afford. I say that because they have a huge market of lenses, and what you're going to want is a type of lens they call macro. It's called 1:1. If you can go 1:2, that's even great. But what it says is that whatever you're seeing here is going to be exactly the same size you're going to see on here. It's 1:1 on the sensor. So you can get super, super high detail, and it's macro, 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 macro. This is a high-tech macro. I took pictures of each, so I'm only getting about 2 millimeters on these pictures. I took a slice of each one going all the way to the back of the tank, went to Photoshop and smacked it together so they all were in focus. Right? So it's the same thing with this guy. His front was out in focus, but everything else behind it was out of focus. So I took slices, stacked it. You can do 2 clips of Photoshop. This is a macro lens too. You can't get this close to the shrimp. This shrimp is like half an inch long. I mean, we all know a model. This is a baby model. So that's super small. You don't get more than 2 inches if you're really good at least. So macro lens is what you want. You can use macro lens like a regular lens. You don't have to get super close on them, but macro lens is it's absolutely what you need. You can get these zoom lenses. They're okay, but if you're taking pictures, zoom lenses are good for on the run. Take pictures of kids, sporting events. But if you're stationary, spend your money on prime lenses. They're better about lenses. When I take wedding pictures, I only use prime. I don't use any lens because they're spending their money for high quality pictures. My prime will get way better qualities. Prime means no zooming, so no 24 to 70 millimeters. It's just 35 millimeters. They're going to give you better low light sensitivity. They're going to give you cleaner, crisper pictures. The only problem with that is you have to run up and down physics.
You are the zoom.
Yeah. So that's the inconvenience of it. But in a perfect world, I would have an assistant that switched me to my prime lens, and I would only use prime lens if I had that choice. But this is my number 1 to-go lens. It's a 24 to 70 millimeter. It's a 2.8, so it's expensive. It's very expensive. I can't justify spending it without having a business. Would never spend that kind of money on this because I can buy 5, 6 tanks of it. Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, well, thank you for listening. Again, if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm free to share.
Well, we definitely appreciate you guys. It's a great talk. You guys learned some stuff. And I guess we want to go ahead and do our raffle now.
Okay, let's grab the ETAA products and bring them back.
Yeah. Yeah. You have a trace.
So one other thing, we said at this tank and stuff, if anybody wants to while we got Richard here and some experience, if you want to get your cell phones and try and attend and see if you can work on some of those traits that he's talking about.
You're more than questions about how to take better pictures with your cell phone. Hit him up now.
Everybody's already in the raffle. Did everybody sign in?
Everybody's getting something. Everybody's getting something at least.
We got a few more things I need to put on the inventory, so. Of course. All right. So for our raffle, we're just gonna pull a name out. We've got a crap ton of items up here. If y'all don't want something, you're at the wrong place. So we're just gonna pull 10 out, if you're one of the first 10, just come up here and grab one item, and then, I don't know if y'all can count, but I can count. There's more things up here than there are out here, so everybody's gonna go home with something. So, like I said, we'll do the 10 raffle items first. You get to be the one who says, hey, I get first selection. I'm gonna try and I'm gonna try to add this to the list. We have all the plants up here. That drink's mostly used, so you don't want that. All the API products, just grab one if you were the winner. Grab one of the plants. There are some fish in here. We have 5 pair of angels, marble angels. We have 1 paradise fish. We have a bag of pink convicts, and then we have a bag of 3 gold bars. So, if you know anybody who was thinking about coming, this is when you didn't get anything because you didn't show up. Come on, guys, make an effort here. So, we're going to do that real quick. Kane's going to pull. I partially have already forgotten most of your plants, Cassandra, so I'm going to write these down for you. And if you have a question as to what these other plants are, if you're the winner, you can ask me and I'll ask Cassandra if I don't know.
All right, now if I butcher your name, you forgive me because I'm from Union County. All right, so I got Victoria.
Yay! All right, Victoria. Let's see, what did you say this one was?
Vallisneria spiralis.
So, new plant or
What would you like? What's your goal? Fish, plants, products. Okay, I have some Vallisneria spiralis. We have Pocus monorectus, Hygrophila pinnata fida, Haltoneria super red, frog bit, Virulensis.
What do you have?
Super red. All right, great. Just so you know, you might want to choose something different because everybody's going to go home with a super red.
Yeah, there's enough for everyone.
So take that with you and something else, please. Take that one. You get that one as well, and then let's get something else.
I'll do the job.
Perfect.
sweet.
I see how this works.
All right.
I think that's the same.
I got Cassandra here.
All right.
That's easy enough. That's my sister's name.
Rotala.
Go ahead.
And then, did you say this is just dwarf bat? Jungle?
It's Italian.
What is that wall in the back?
Fragile must be Italian.
I couldn't see what I'm.
And then what'd you say this one was?
Giant duckweed.
Giant duckweed.
There's also Rickia and redwood floaters and Salvinia.
Giant duckweed.
Regular.
I'm writing all this down.
So that's.
Do you want more of that? I have more of that at my house. This was donated by Chris. I have a lot more of that. If you want to more hydroponic. Great.
All right. JT,
All right, JT.
got you next, buddy.
It's just that. See how you don't.
Of course. Okay, great. Take one when you come up. I don't think anybody's gonna go home.
I always look, I never look at the subject. I'm looking at the bright and the dark, right? So your phone has HDR option? Yeah.
I'll just say a quick
So
something.
your phone has a.
I hope everybody took a second to fill out their bio for us. If on that bio, I don't know how I wrote it down or not, if there's something you want us to explore with you. Hey, I'm super into guppies. You know, if we had somebody who really knew a lot about guppies showing up like just put that down in your bio, put it at the bottom, say, this is what I'm really interested in. I really want to know how Chris grows all these super high-tech plants. Okay, so then we'll make Chris come up and talk to us one day. It already sounds like he's in the mode of that. So if there's something you want us to do, put it down on paper, tell anybody else in this of the 5-member board, and let us know. And my gosh, this is what we're going to do. This is all this club is what you in this room want, what we want as a group, okay? Just like meeting at a bar, hanging out. Tell me what you want to talk about, or else we don't know what to talk about.
You got Renee. Now don't be shy. Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
So we got the fish.
Yeah, if you want to fish, don't be shy. Scoop it up. That's what we got to hear.
We got marble angels. On the left side. That's a paradise.
That's good.
This is the convex right here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We're gonna say it online, but man, thank y'all. Everybody did such a good job. He is so cool. You end up with the paradise even after you wanted the convicts. That's how fish addiction works.
It's all digested. Yeah, it's all digested.
Pick any plant or fish product this one, and then take one of those, whatever you got. We got plenty of those. Yeah, we got some fish. We got anglerfish, marble pears, pink convicts, and gold barbs.
That's what this is gonna be. I'm telling you, everybody's gonna be like, man, I'm showing up. I'll get in there.
You pick those up.
Cause I right now have a hearing.
Here, let's see if I can I took pictures of
Tanner W.
I love him because he's solid. He's a calico.
Okay.
He's solid black, but he's only got red on his nose.
Yeah, he's cool.
He's my favorite.
We can say it was down on Sunday.
I have a big berry.
Make sure I write down the name.
I just took pictures of
So another thing, if you can write down what you want on the upper corner of your bio sheet, help me out, I'm gonna post it for everybody, okay? Once again, we're just trying to get everybody to be like, man, I can't believe I didn't show up.
Jason M.
Yeah, what you say your name was?
I've got long feelings too. Shrinking. Oh, wow, those are ugly. Those are my,
How many tanks do we have set up?
those are my, blue eyes. Ooh, really?
Yeah.
They're all in the same type, so you can. But yeah, those are my long tails. That's my big female.
We won't talk about it.
There's one male.
Oh, wow, do they not get the?
Yeah, he's got
They do just a little bit.
Yeah, he's just really young.
Oh, okay, all right.
Shrinky again. There's a calico.
Alright, you write down.
And then my actual super. Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that's.
I'm an angel. That's just a brown, but it's a long bin brown. We got some long bin browns and some red all in the same tank, so hopefully we get some long bin.
That'd be cool.
I got Hope B.
Did you say what bin?
Yep. That's you.
Sorry, I didn't catch the name. Who was it? Let me get your bio, write down. That's fine.
Say something. I know, which I don't know if y'all want more. That's each person to their own. We got one floater and frog. He's a run off the
Floater. Okay, so if you accidentally take this home, you're definitely gonna have duckweed. That's a floater. That's a floater. That's a floater. That's got some. You don't want this.
Take care.
fact, just have them write that down.
All right, Jennifer W.
There's so much other stuff in there.
Jennifer Wilson. Jennifer Wilkerson. You don't look like Jennifer. I know my name is Jennifer, and I got Wilkerson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I knew this would fill that out. Here, will you just write down what you're taking? What are you already? Oh, the gold bars.
Oh, and if you want one of the reds,
Yeah, take the super red too.
yeah, Megan A.
Yo, that's all.
He got alternate areas.
Yeah.